Hello, welcome to part 4 of the Yamaha FZR1000 full engine restoration. Now I'm gonna show you how I check for the seal of the valves, if they seal properly. That's my way of doing it. Of course, there are numerous ways. If you have something different, just let me know, leave a comment. I'm happy to hear from everyone how they do their own thing. And let's go and start with it.
So you can pour in here for the exhaust and later on for the inlet valves a bit of petrol or kerosene, something that it's really thin and can go through the slightest tiny gaps. And if they're leaking, well, then you know, if they're leaking that, then you know they're leaking compression. I'm really looking forward to check number 3, which it doesn't leak, and that's quite surprising. I thought it would have been a problem. But check number 4. Never say never. They don't leak at all. Yeah, you can see some leakage slowly coming out of this on number 4, but it's not as important. However, I'm gonna do the whole valve job. I'm gonna lapse all of them, clean the cylinder head, and make things proper. And now let's check the inlet valves. There we go. That's what was leaking, and that's cylinder number 2. Bummer. This valve is leaking tremendously. If you see from the inside, these two are almost full, but this one is leaking a big deal. I mean, look at that. See how it leaks? That's where the problem was, but this is number 2. Next thing we need to do is to remove all the shims from tappets that correspond to each valve and mark them. So use your artist skills and create something like this: exhaust side, inlet side, and then mark 2 valves for the first cylinder for the exhaust, 2 for the second, and of course 3 for the first one, 3 for the second, and so forth. You'll need this. Put it on the side, take a nose pliers and gently try to remove tappets. Now once you remove them, turn around. That's the shim. This is the one that you have to replace later on. Can you see in there? It has a number. Let me show you. That number says 171. This is the gap. This is the thickness of that little thing. That means it's 171, 1 millimeter, 7/10 of the millimeter, and 1/100th of the millimeter. It's very precise to the 100th of the millimeter. And this one goes in between. That's where the camshaft knocks, pushes down, and that whole thing pushes the valves in there. That's the valve. It's the one that pushes down. And this is the hose sprocket, but that one, that little shim, goes in between the tappet, this one, that is get pushed by the camshaft, and the valve. And that's why you need to do what you need to do in order to adjust the valve clearance. And it's a very, very long procedure. And of course I'm going to do it now that I have the motorcycle, the engine down. It's much easier to do. But first I have to record that. Now what I should have done before was to measure the clearance before I remove the camshafts. But knowing that I'm gonna do a lap job on the valves, that means that gap is gonna alter, it's gonna change. and it wouldn't be of any use for me to do the whole thing, just do the measurements and then adjust the valves. Since I'm going to do the lap job valve, it would be useless. So I'm going to do the lap job valve first. I'm going to replace a few valves that need to be replaced. Then I'm going to put the camshafts on without having this on the engine, of course. And after I do that, I'll measure the gaps. And having recorded all these, if I'm not happy with the gap, then I'm going to go and replace these ones to whichever valve needs to be replaced. 170. In case one of them stays in here, that was the last one and stayed in there instead of stay inside the tappet. Well, magnet. Here you are. 174. Not sure if you can guys see. 174. That's the appropriate. Smallest one. That's how you remove the valves. That's the third cylinder. It doesn't touch very well on this side. Alright on this, but not as good. Magnetic screwdriver.
and this is what I've come so far. The exhaust valves on one side and the inlet valves on the other side, and of course the springs, the seats of the springs, the tappets, everything's out. There's a lot of carbon buildup on the combustion chamber and of course on the exhaust ports, much more there. And I was thinking maybe to do it with the sandblasting machine with the glass beads. That would be perfect, but the problem is those small little particles from the glass beads can go anywhere in your cylinder head. And what if I'm not able to remove some of it and it eventually stays inside the oil pipes and everything? That's going to destroy the whole engine in a matter of minutes, if not hours. So I'd rather probably find some solvent to clean it or use my ultrasonic cleaner. Let's see how we're gonna do that, and let me show you the carbon buildup.
Look at that. That's a buildup of carbon of 26 years. Now I'll put some degreaser to the correct proportion with water inside the ultrasonic cleaner. It's still in the head. Okay, the ultrasonic cleaner cleaned totally the inlet ports for sure, but of course there are some deposits on the exhaust ports. Oh, that's better. And these ones have to clean with the Dremel. Looks in much better shape than what it used to be.